So today on our show, we're interviewing Deeksha Gandotra. She is a diva, she's creating a legacy of her own, and she's risen like a phoenix. But let me not give away too much. Let's get into it. Deeksha, how do you best describe yourself?
Um, so I think two words which describe me best is community builder. And why I say that is because I think I resonate most with it and I enjoy doing that the most. Sometimes I'm working 17 hours a day and people are like, are you crazy? But I enjoy it so much that I just don't even realize how time flies. And they say, like, if you do what you love, you just keep enjoying and you never need a holiday then. So yeah, I think community builder, and I think I'm a people's person, and I think I love and enjoy doing that.
Wow.
I thrive, I think, when I'm doing that, and I've realized this over the last couple of years.
Wonderful. And how long have you been here in the UAE?
It's been 9 years. We'll be starting our 10th year soon as well. And UAE is definitely home now. I can't think about living. I think UAE spoils you so much
It does.
that I can't
Yeah.
even think about living anywhere else.
Okay, fantastic. And tell us about the becoming of who you are, the becoming of Deeksha Gandotra. I know that you definitely have a long way to go, but you've achieved so much, and I definitely take a lot of inspiration from you. So let's throw some light upon how you've gotten to where you are today.
Thank you so much, Shubika, and I think you've been doing great yourself. So I think it's all about taking inspiration from each other. I think my journey has been magical, as I would say, because it was filled, and it was like a proper, I would say, a proper story for a Bollywood movie, if I had to put it. But I guess that's how stories are supposed to be,
Right.
and the thrill of it.
Right.
To be honest, I always knew that I think at the age of 11, I would have conversations with my father saying that I'm going to be a very successful businesswoman.
Right.
But the fact being that when you start getting into the whole debacle of school, university, etc., and you become complacent, there came a time in my life also where I think I'm losing the path of what I want to do. And I think I was clearly losing purpose.
Okay.
But fortunately, I grew up with two very, very strong women in my life. That
Right.
is my mother and my mother's sister, which is my Masi, and I actually call her Ma.
Okay.
Is because they are the most successful businesswomen in and around me, and I grew up with them. Being fashion designers, they created a niche for themselves. They really, really did well for themselves coming from Kashmir. Okay, I hit rock bottom, I think, at the age of 22. And I thought, oh shit, I had such amazing plans of life. I thought I'm going to be an extremely successful entrepreneur, businesswoman. I'm going to have probably a building, like a proper corporate. That's how I imagined myself always.
Right. Right.
And at 22, that dark place which I hit, I didn't know how am I going to survive the next day. I didn't know at that time I stepped into depression or anxiety, because what happens is when you're living in your comfort zone for a very, very long time and where you become complacent, and then there's no purpose because you have everything.
Yeah.
You don't even have the push because you're living in your comfort zone, right? I mean, I did my chartered accountancy. I was studying at that point of time. My grandfather is a very well-renowned chartered accountant. I would go to his firm and I would be treated as a granddaughter and not as an employee. All of those things, and I mean, my mother wanted me to become a fashion designer. That wasn't happening. I would go take and imbibe lessons from doing sales, of course, at the stores, and from my dad's business. But all of this was not really helping really in my growth. So, sometimes
Okay.
when we see a trajectory wherein, this is my life goal, I would have finished my studies and there you go. But I was very clear from the very beginning, I'm not going to go work for anybody. I'm not going to go work in a corporate, no MNC. That was very clear. I was an entrepreneur from day one,
Right.
and I knew I'm going to do that. But you lose track, and this is very important to know because people see the success now and don't see what
course.
probably
Yes.
what I probably went through, or
Right.
what anybody would have gone through.
Yeah.
We always try to compare ourselves to a person's achievement as of today, not looking back at what probably the person went through.
Right. Right.
So I got a call from my father And I was going through this, and at that point, depression, anxiety wasn't something very well known in the society. And if you did say that you want to go meet a psychiatrist or psychologist, it would be looked down upon. And I didn't want to trot that path, because even my friends were like, "What are you even talking?"
Yeah.
But I had one friend. She was extremely. I'm extremely grateful for her, because she was there through this journey, and my father.
Okay.
My father told me one thing, Diksha, that of course there are two very important things in life. One is being a good human being, which you are doing. Second is the thrill to earn money.
Yeah.
Because when you realize you need to do it, you will start working and you'll ultimately find purpose.
Right.
What has happened to you right now is that you're so much in your comfort zone that thrill has gone away. So start working. It's like start working for real. So I tried working. I tried going to work at my mom's store, etc. But that wasn't really pushing me. So just a few months later, my brother was shifting from Singapore, and then my father was always between Dubai and Singapore. London and Singapore. We had to, as a family, get together and stay in one country.
Right.
And he said, "You know what? Your brother's opening a company in Dubai. Why don't you go and support him? We'll all be joining you, etc." I said, "Okay, yeah, that looks like an interesting challenge." But having said that, when you are suffering from something called anxiety or depression, getting on a flight is also extremely treacherous in your brain.
Okay.
It can be so daunting, but fighting every moment was a victory for me.
Correct.
Coming here, landing up, and my father says, "Okay, you guys have to go meet somebody." And I've been always in a setting where, I didn't have to go formally pitch a business. I land here, second day he said, "You have to go meet someone." I clueless about the business, etc. I jumped into it. One thing I was always ready to do was jump into things.
Right.
And I think I do that till date. So that was the starting of my life, wherein I think I went for a meeting, I was clueless, but I jumped into and started talking about things I didn't even know about. And now I look back and I'm like, what was I doing? But I think that was the stepping stone, and now I think I can do a meeting for about 100 people in a room very easily. But that's been my journey, right? So that was the starting point, and I think there's been no looking back. I've gone through my share of hell, heaven, everything after coming here. But I'm so grateful for the land, and I'm spiritual at heart, and I believe gratitude is the biggest spirituality one can be a part of. And I feel that if you're not grateful for the land you're a part of, then you are begrudging your life.
Correct.
And I think I'm extremely grateful, because Dubai gives an opportunity to so many people in so many ways. I came here, I started helping my brother, started learning the norms of working over here. And ultimately, I got an opportunity with VFS Global, where they wanted to start a recruitment consultancy.
Okay.
And I said, I come from finance accounting, but I understand people very well. Again, I jumped into an opportunity which came my way, because I feel opportunity never knocks your door twice. And
Correct.
this was meant to be my path. And maybe I've always been a person who wants to pray for others, help others. So what better way than recruitment?
Right.
So I jumped into it, and we were supposed to work as a team together. And they were supposed to do the marketing bit. I was supposed to do the supply bit. But going forward, I was doing both the functions.
Right.
And I realized that, okay, maybe this is something I need to do on my own. And I started my journey. I burnt my fingers because I didn't know how things are worked over here, how contracts would be. I mean, people might, people might sign contracts and not pay you. All those things happen, right?
Yeah.
So I went through my share bit of that, learnt the hard way. Probably this is what you're not taught in universities and life teaches you. But it's the best way of learning, because it's the best way of learning, because you'll never make that mistake. Cutting the story short, 6 years later, in COVID, when probably employment came at a standstill, everybody was being fired. I worked the most during the 3 years of COVID, and I think I thrived during COVID. And people wonder how. because I got an opportunity to become part of a global organization.
Yeah.
So our company, Versatile Consultancy, now is a part of a global
Okay.
organization called IPTR, which has its partners in 53 countries.
Okay.
So I think that was one of the biggest milestones for us as a company, because getting like literally a partner in every continent makes world your oyster, as they
Right.
say, right?
Right.
And but through this journey, what was a very, very key learning for me, and I think what's making me and made me and making me rather, is that if you're an entrepreneur, these are golden words, I feel, that networking is the most essential part of growing your business. And as they say very beautifully, and I am a biggest advocate of it, is that your network is your net worth.
Correct.
And I will keep advocating it to every entrepreneur who starts their journey, that if you start networking at the very early stage, you will definitely thrive in the long run. Because if you build the right relations, and you need to keep building the right relations till your last breath,
Correct.
because relations are what takes you ahead. Your money will stay here, your everything will be here, but the relations you make is what will be your biggest bank balance, as I
Correct.
would like to put.
Right.
And I think COVID was a testimony of it, of how many people came forward to help each other. And in my case also, how people came forward. But this was all because I invested a lot of time into networking. I invested a lot of time into building relations. And that was not the end of the story. That was recruitment per se. But okay, we'll probably take it up when we speak about all the other ventures
Yes.
which happened as a
Right.
result of being networking, I would
Awesome.
say.
Awesome. Diksha, I've had the privilege of knowing you for some time now. And like I said before, I'm so inspired by who you are and what you do. I remember meeting you for the first time when we were just having coffee and thinking, what have I really achieved? Look at Diksha and how far she's come along. So I know that you have this hospitality hub that you've created. It's self-created. Such a beautiful thought. And I do know a little about it, and I want to still continue to thank you for allowing BCWS to be a part of that, where we could, present who we are and what we do. But for the sake of our audience, if you can throw some light upon what is the Hospitality Hub and how you conceptualized it.
I think hospitality hub is something which is closest to my heart, and I think when you had come, it was really nice. I think because you also understand hospitality in a very great manner, and it was thank you for even coming and throwing light upon one of the most important aspects of F&B. That's of course customer attention. It's funny how I got into it, how this community is formed, and how it's become the most integral part of my life. And I don't own any restaurant, so that's the funniest. I remember giving this TED talk, I think last year, wherein I started by saying that I started with 0 restaurants, and I'm walking out, and I ended the TED talk saying that I'm walking out with 1,500 restaurants, and they are not owned by me, but I think I'm an honorary part of them. This is my idea. We are going to have 2 criteria of a person to be a part of it, and there is no ulterior motive here. There's You don't have any membership fees, nothing. 2 criteria being that you need to own a restaurant and you need to be of Asian origin.
Right.
2 criteria, very clear. We started with about 14, 15 people who thought we are not crazy enough, because of the fact that we are 80% an Asian population over here, right? But the unity somewhere, that support together was not there. So we started with about 15, 20 people who supported my craziness, as I would say. And today, almost 2.5 years later, touching 3 years soon, we are a community of 300 restaurant owners, covering about 1,500 restaurants. And I think we are only growing as a support group. And what we do as a community is support restaurateurs. And you would be shocked to see how that every restaurant is a competition to the other and they are thriving together. How is that even remotely possible, right? But you won't believe the collaborations which have happened in that room.
Right.
It's mind-boggling.
Yes.
People who didn't have a catering arm are like, like literally
They're supporting each other.
They're supporting each other in the best manner possible. And now we are being supported by the federal body of UAE, which is called UAE-RG. There are three advisors of UAE-RG who are part of our group now, because they see the value we are creating as a group together, which probably is more than what they're doing also, they said. And just I think, and we have something called the food crawls every Friday or Thursday, wherein we as a community, as many members who can come together, meet every week, and wherein we discuss current problems, try to sort. We are bringing in different people like yourself who'd come, who'd want to work for the community, for the betterment, because the restaurant community is one of the most integral, or F&B is one of the most integral part of which contributes to the UAE economy. And we don't believe in differentiations. So you could be a restaurant in Karama, or you could be a restaurant at the Palm. You could be having 150 restaurants, or you could have one restaurant. There is space for you in that room.
Wonderful.
And I think that's the core value I live by, that you cannot differentiate. Because it's the same God which resides in me, which resides in you also.
Absolutely.
So how can you differentiate, right?
Yes.
And that is what the platform offers. There are so many newbies who get to learn from mentors who have been in the restaurant community for the longest time. And I think it's so heartwarming, Shubika, to just be there and see that one thought or that incident could create a community this big, wherein everybody is supporting each other, everybody is there for each other, and we are creating value. Because as F&B has so many pain points, and they are suffering as an industry because of the aggregator mafia, this and the other. Poor guys, they're like, at the end of the day, and there is so much competition, there are 19,000 restaurants in UAE. So creating value for them, going an extra mile for them, and being their voice.
Correct.
And not coming from an F&B background. Of course, I've done recruitment in F&B, but that's just a very, very minuscule part of it.
Right.
But just becoming such an integral part of the industry, like people now resonate with me as being the voice of F&B. Is like, I spoke at Gulf Food and I was talking about Hospitality Hub, and I think that's one of my biggest achievements in life. I have no ulterior motive out of it in terms of monetarily. Like, people said, Diksha, you should have membership for it. You should be creating. And I'm like, that's not my purpose of creating it. My purpose was simply support. And if I withdraw from my purpose, then why have I created? There are many avenues in life to earn money. But can you create communities and can you create this value? No. So I think this is my biggest asset, and I think that's why Hospitality Hub is extremely close to my heart. I wasn't trying to community build here, but it just so happened, and it's one of the biggest F&B communities there is in the whole country now.
Wow. As you were talking, I was thinking of the BCWS punchline, which is creating opportunities, building relationships, and delivering value. But you're living it every day of your life. And it's not just a tagline for you, you're living it out. And I'm so proud of you, Diksha.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. I was there at the food crawl and I've seen how you're connecting people, and congratulations. And
thank you.
I wish you all the best in this journey, and I hope that whatever you want to achieve through this, you will achieve.
Thank you so much, Shubika. And I hope I'm able to live up to creating a huge value for this industry.
It's been so delightful to have you here on the sets of Business Conversations with Shubika. Diksha, you are wonderful. You are creating a legacy of your own, and I salute you for everything that you've achieved so far. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Shubika. And I want to also add that you're doing great work. So keep doing the great work. You're inspiring so many women. You're hearing, you've created a platform where stories as mine and many other empowered women are heard. So kudos to you for the great work you're doing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And just like that, it's a wrap, and we've come to the end of another wonderful episode of Business Conversations with Shubika. But you mustn't forget to like, to subscribe, and follow us on all our social media channels.